Welcome back to AMFM247.com. Cool Your Heels with Lillian Caldwell and Passionate World Talk Radio. The world in your hands. And this morning, or this afternoon, depending, or evening, depending where you live, our special guest is Allison Jandu, who wrote a book called The Poop Puzzle. So let's find out more about it. Good afternoon, Allison. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Lillian. How are you today?
I'm doing fine.
Good.
Now, I have to admit, I could have used your book a long time ago.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, my son was very resistant to going to the potty.
Yeah.
And maybe it was also because he was gifted and talented, but he got so involved in what he did that he would have accidents.
Gotcha.
And
the fear of missing out.
Yes, absolutely. So please tell the audience why you wrote it, because people say, a poop book, who would need that?
Yes, it does sound like a very strange thing, and to be honest with you, I never in a million years thought that I would end up spending my professional career helping people get their kids to poop on the potty. But I wrote the book mainly because it's become such a common problem for so many parents that are going through potty training. And a lot of them just don't know where to turn. So I get contacted by several parents every single day struggling with this issue, and I wanted to do something for them that provided them with a resource to where they wouldn't have to pay the high price tag of hiring a private consultant like myself. And it's just a compilation of all the information that I use, that I've had experience with, that has helped getting kids to poop on the potty based on my experience in the past.
Okay, so what are some of the things that you recommend in your book that an anxious parent should know about potty training before they even get started?
Okay, so that's a great question, because the more prepared you are about, and educated you are about potty training before you start, the better off you're going to be. So there are three important things that I really stress during potty training, and I call them the three C's. And they are commitment, consistency, and confidence. So you basically want to make sure that you as a parent are ready to fully commit to the potty training process. You want to be able to say goodbye to those diapers and never look back, basically. So you want to make sure you're in the right frame of mind to be able to do that. And you don't want to start, when you're about to go on a vacation, or you have some other major life event going on. So you just want to take some time to prepare yourself and commit to that. And the consistency aspect of it, whatever potty training method you decide to go with, there are tons and tons out there. You just want to be consistent with what you do. Kids really thrive on routines and schedules. So the more consistent you can make it for them, the more willing they are going to be to learn it and to stick by it.
Absolutely. So I know I witnessed my 3 grandchildren being potty trained, and they made it seem like they actually knew what they were doing. And I think by the time I got to the third one, they were really good at it. And the one thing I did notice was that they always asked them, I guess every hour when you're that young. So actually tell the audience, or suggest to the audience, what age you should start potty training, because I think there is a difference as to when you start. And then the second part of it is, how often do you ask the child, does he need to go to the bathroom?
Okay, well, I kind of always say that there's no real hard set number as far as an age that's ideal for potty training, but if I had to put something on it, I would say between the ages of 20 months and 30 months is the best time. Any earlier than that, they don't have full control of their muscles down there to be able to hold it for an extended period of time. And then any later than that, you start to run into our lovely toddler years, and a lot of the power struggles can start at that point. So between 20 and 30 months is a really great time, because the kids are still young, they're still eager to please, they're learning to help with things, and they want to build these skills to give them some independence. So, as far as recommending a time to prompt them when to use the potty, first starting out, if they're on the younger side, I would say the first couple of days that you're going to potty train, about every 30 minutes is a good time to prompt, and then you can build up as you go along. But another tip that I also like to suggest is to not ask them if they have to go potty, because every toddler's favorite word is usually no,
Oh,
and
yeah.
they're not going to want to stop, like you said with your son. They're not going to want to necessarily stop what they're doing to go use the bathroom voluntarily. So it's better to prompt and say something like, "Come on, let's go try to use the potty now." Or you can give them an option like, do you want to use the potty now or after you brush your teeth? And that way that gives them a choice and it makes them feel more in control.
Absolutely. And parents, if you don't know it, watch a little boy and watch a little girl when they need to go to the bathroom. With a boy, it's you can't miss it. They're very obvious because they start grabbing their penis.
Yep.
And a little girl usually crosses her legs and looks anxious.
Yep.
And you need to really clue in to these signals.
Yes, it's so important to do that. Every child has what I call a tell. So it's also a very important time for you as parents to be able to learn these things about your child so that you can keep an eye out for that behavior. And if you observe it, then you know it's an appropriate time to prompt them to use the potty and hopefully prevent an accident.
Now, I also remember them giving my grandson those potty training pants from Pampers.
Mhm.
And it wasn't so much that he was a big kid now as they have in the commercial, but I think it was they were giving him the responsibility to know when to go.
Yes.
And I think that's a great, positive, elated feeling you want to give a child.
Yeah, 100%. You definitely want to be empowering them and making sure that they should definitely feel proud of themselves during this time because it's a huge deal. It really is kind of the transition from baby to big kid as far as losing the diapers. So you really want to take the opportunity to praise them and make them feel really proud of themselves at any success that they have along the road with potty training for sure.
Now, I also remember my son's, you know, going down on his knees practically just because he's a tall dad,
Okay.
and looking the child face to face and saying to him, now, if you have trouble moving number twos, let us know. Don't sit there and strain. Now, do you also suggest something like that?
Very much so. It's never a good idea to strain because that's just going to cause a lot of discomfort and it's going to make them kind of dread every future bowel movement going forward. So you want to be sure that if they are struggling or if there's any initial signs of constipation, that you be proactive and take care of that right away. So that way the bowel movement is comfortable and easy for them to pass. So that way they don't get any fear or trepidation about future ones going forward.
I also noticed my son did the same thing with his son that I did with him. I was a single parent, so when I taught him to go to the bathroom, I had him sit down
Sure.
and do it. I just thought it was a lot easier.
Mhm.
And I know that the number one complaint from a lot of other parents were their little kids just, I don't know, they had trouble hitting the bowl to
Yeah.
get in there. And I understand men have that problem too from time to time. So do you start them off sitting down for the boys and then gradually get to the standing up position?
Yeah, I usually do recommend that unless it's like a special needs situation and the child is already older and they're too small for or they're too big for like a small potty, like floor potty or something like that. I always recommend just having them sit not only for mess purposes, but because it can be very hard for them in the beginning to distinguish between do I need to just stand or do I need to sit? And like, do I need to just pee or do I need to pee and poop? So they might not necessarily make that differentiation very early on. So if you just have them sit right off the bat, it eases a lot of that confusion for them.
Now, when a person purchases your book,
Mhm.
do you also make it easy? Do you have the people go in and read from chapter to chapter to chapter, or do you have them, well, pick a chapter that you're having trouble with your child or grandchild? Because, yes, grandparents sometimes do wind up bringing up their kids' kids,
Yes.
and you should be aware of this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, the beauty of my book, because I'm also I'm a very busy parent myself. I have a 2 and 4 year old child myself, and I run the business and I also work on the side. So, I the goal of writing the book was I wanted to make it able to be read all in one sitting. So the book is short enough to be able to read it from start to finish within about a 40 to 45 minute period. So really, once you put the kids to bed at night, you can sit down and read the book and get all the information that you need. So I do recommend reading it, just everything from start to finish, and then you can reference back as you need to.
Excellent. And I suspect that going back, when you are having the consistency of going potty training, you hand over this information or the book to an aunt and an uncle, to a nanny, a babysitter.
Sure. Yep, absolutely. It's very important to have everybody on the same page that's in the child's life, especially teachers and daycare providers and things like that. Anytime the child's not going to be in your care, you want to make sure that anybody else that's caring for them is keeping up with the same process as you've been doing, so that there's no confusion for the child.
And then one step you also teach them or ask them to start and initialing that the kids sort of wash their hands and eventually start flushing the toilet. Don't laugh, people. My 2 granddaughters, way up until 10 years old, were not flushing the toilet, which left me in a very unhappy mood.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot of steps for them to accomplish that first. So I definitely recommend mastering the elimination portion of using the potty first. And then you can incorporate the other aspects of it as far as washing the hands, flushing the toilet, making sure you turn the light off when you leave the room. You can build up on those things as you go along. You don't want to overwhelm them with everything all at once,
Oh,
especially in the beginning.
absolutely not. Absolutely. They knew they had arrived when they could put the grandson into the car and take him for a 2-3 hour trip, and didn't have to go to the bathroom, and he didn't have an accident along the way.
That's huge. Yes, absolutely. I know a lot of parents fear leaving the house in the initial phases of potty training, and it can be you know, kind of nerve-wracking. Like, am I going to have to pull over randomly on the side of the road real quick, or am I going to have a wet car seat on my hands? But as long as you're prepared going in and have extra changes of clothes, maybe have them sit on something waterproof in their car seat just to be on the safe side. Accidents happen, unfortunately, so don't have unrealistic expectations, but at the same time, don't be housebound for too long either, because you'll just go stir crazy.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So, do you envision writing some more books? Maybe potty training for people who are caregivers and need to work on the opposite side?
Absolutely, yes. Actually, part of what I do is I teach continued education training courses to daycare providers. So I have actually written an internationally accredited training course for daycare providers that can be taken online and through H&H Training. And yeah, so that's definitely a topic that I'd consider writing on in the future. At the same time I released the Poop Puzzle, I also released my other book called The Wee Hours, which is a nighttime potty training guide specific for nighttime potty training. And I would also like to write a complete kind of potty training for dummies guide going forward that's more of like a binder format that you can flip to each section as you need to troubleshoot here and there and that kind of thing.
I would think you almost may be tempted to write a book for kids with special needs.
Yes, actually, a lot of my clients are children with special needs, and I work alongside those parents. I've worked from kids ages 3 years to 11 years that have had various disorders and special needs that require additional help during the potty training phase, and that can be a very challenging thing for parents. And unfortunately, there's not a ton of resources out there.
There's not,
right
and
now.
especially for special needs grown up, if they're
Yes.
paralyzed from the neck down, for example,
Yes.
or they've lost a limb, like their hands or their arm or something like that. It can make it very difficult, or somebody who lost their balance and hasn't gotten it back. It will make it very difficult for them to go to the bathroom. and to take care of their needs, because people are very protective of their inner feelings about having to be helped even by a specially trained nurse.
Absolutely, yes. It's a major hurdle to overcome for people, definitely.
So anything else that you're working on that you would like to bring up to the audience?
Actually, besides the two books just being released, I'm coming up to the holidays, so I'm filling the last of my independent consultation spots as we speak for the year, and hopefully I'll be able to get back to writing some more guides and books in the future. Starting next year.
Will you have your books translated into different languages?
Yes, that's on the to-do list, as well as getting them on Audible so that people can just listen to the books, or people that may have sight impairment, they are able to access the books as well. So those are definitely things that I am undertaking as we speak.
That sounds really great. So could you please tell everybody, Allison, where people can find you on the World Wide Web, and where they can buy your books and any other pertinent information that you feel that needs to be put out there?
Absolutely. My website is www.pottytrainingconsultant.com. And both of my books are right there on the home page. When you open up the website, you can access where to buy them by clicking the link. They're also available on Amazon and on Google Books. And my private email address, if anybody wants to reach out for a consultation, or if they have questions about potty training, it is pottytrainingconsultant@gmail.com.
Do you also do give talks, presentations, webinars?
I do, and actually, I usually host about 3 or 4 local workshops, potty training workshops, every year for the local community, and I have gone into daycare centers and given talks for parents there and things like that. So yes, I'm definitely open to giving talks for
Okay,
people.
terrific. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first with Allison Jandu, who wrote a book called The Poop Puzzle. And before we go away and stray, WR Inc. had this to say: the happiest people seem to be those who have no particular reason for being happy except that they are so. And you can hear this interview all over again with Allison on AMFM247.com Tuesday evening from 8 to 9 p.m. You can also hear it on https://passionateworldradionetwork.com, soon to be passionateworldtalkradio.com. You can also hear it on iHeartRadio. You can hear it on iTunes. You can hear it on YouTube.com/PWR Network LLC, Facebook.com/Passionate World Radio and /PWRN Network LLC. You can hear it on Twitter.com @PWR Network LLC, also on Google Plus, and a host of directories. Just look us up. We've been around for 13 years. We're just all over that Google website, so take a good look. Thank you all very much for listening. And remember, please keep listening. Thank you.